I got chat on. If I don't, then I'm sorry. I hope I have chat on. It's something that I really want to do, and I know that I talked about doing more lives, and I know I did them for a while, and then I stopped for man, maybe it was close to a year, but it's I did one a couple weeks ago, and I'm gonna try to keep doing it, and I hope everyone enjoys this. I hope it's helpful. One of the things I did want to talk about was shaming. And shaming as a narcissist is a way of the narcissist use, and it's a form of control because shaming the hands of like a toxic person, it's almost like verbal katana, where they slice through self-esteem with just kind of precision. And it's not just about the criticism. It's oh, geez, I'm burping. You can tell it's live, right? Because of the precision. It's not just about it becomes like psychological warfare, right? And they use shame as a leash, and it keeps you tied into their whims and their. Oh, excuse me. I wonder what I ate. Um, just keeping you tied to the whims and their fancies, and with the self-esteem, because the way narcissists think is they usually target people with like good self-esteem, and what they try to do is they try to tear down that self-esteem. They do it little by little by little by little. So if you imagine that self-esteem is kind of like your castle, you're now picture this as a toxic person, and it's just like a one-man siege. It's just attacking you instead of hurling, cannonballs. They target everything that you're proud of, your achievements, your beliefs, even your own personality, until the walls of your castle start to crumble. And they love to exploit wounds, existing wounds, new wounds. They create all of those things. And it's just like they'll pick at your deepest wounds. Narcissists will pick at your deepest wounds, your deepest traumas. Instead of helping you heal, they kind of poke at you like just shamelessly. They look for all of these other things, because it's like if you have these wounds that were before they even came, and they can find them. It's just like all of a sudden, cool. It's more strings that they can pull, more things that they can do, and they're very shameless about the way they do it. Excuse me. And they will use your past against you, so be aware of that. And then turning your vulnerabilities into weapons of their control is just it's really insidious. And even though they turn us into victims, they also have a way of blaming the victim. It's like you have the audacity to these tactics that they know no blinds, and then they blame you for your own pain, as if the scars that you bear are badges of dishonor. And but they cause these wounds. They cause this hurt. And oh, you were bullied. Maybe you're too weak. Well, that's actually not a very healthy dynamic, right? So it's really important that that you kind of look at blaming as it's just a toxic tactic that narcissists use, and it's not true. And they also avoid vulnerability. So protecting yourself from like the emotional onslaught is like building a moat around your castle. So this does become like boundaries, and we don't reveal the drawbridge, because your vulnerabilities and your traumas, until you're sure that they won't use them against you, it's just like, all right, so you did share some things with them. And maybe when you shared things with them, that they kind of kept them in the back of their minds, and they used it against you. But if they do that more than once, then it's time to just stop sharing your vulnerabilities, because it's just like, oh, I'm hurting here, and you do that with a normal person. Like a normal person would suddenly feel more compassion towards you, and maybe listen more and be more attentive. But that's not what toxic people do. Everything is a form of control for them. So it's just like you share something with them, and all of a sudden they're going to use that against you. So there's empowering yourself is like the best response to any kind of shaming techniques, because recognizing shame as control is a tactic that becomes your shield, because it's not just about deflecting their attacks. It's about understanding that these barbs, they reflect that their own toxicity. It's not your worth. It's not your flaws. It's your own toxicity. That is their toxicity. It's not has nothing to do with your self worth. And so every time you resist, you know, internalizing, their shame. You're actually reinforcing the walls of your own self-esteem. And you're learning that these words are not truths, but they're just twisted lies designed to keep you under their thumb. That's where they want to keep you, under their thumb. And building your defenses against these shaming involves, nurturing your self-worth. It's about surrounding yourself with people who appreciate you, not just, depreciate your value. So remember, you're not just defending against, attack. You're reclaiming your narrative, your dignity, your truth, all in the face of shaming. And your greatest weapon is your resilience, and it's your courage to say, your words don't define you. Yeah, but they don't define me. So it's just like it's your power to see beyond the attempts to belittle you, to stand tall in your self worth, and in this battle for your self esteem, it's like the goal is to become the victor, not the victim. And there's so many other things that narcissists use against us, and it's like sometimes you hear the word like constructive criticism, right? It's like, okay, but coming from a narcissist, it's not constructive at all. There's nothing constructive about it at all. If anything, it's destructive criticism, because it's a whole new world where every comment is only a bark, where everything has this backhanded remark, right? And it's less about constructive feedback and more about deconstructing your self-esteem, just brick by brick. Oh, you cooked dinner, great. Why didn't you paint the house too, and mow the lawn? Like, I made dinner. Like, what? Wasn't good enough. This part is too cold. This part is too hot. Oh, if only the steak wasn't cooked so hard. It's like, yeah, okay. And then goalposts. Goalposts are one of those things where it's just like they're moving the goalposts. So imagine if you're playing a game of soccer and you kick the ball towards the net, and then they just go and they move the net and you miss. And no matter how many times you try, you're constantly missing. And dealing with somebody who moves the goalpost is like playing a game where the rules keep changing. And every time that you try to win, it's just like, oh, you thought you won, didn't you? It's like, oh, silly you. I've moved the goalposts. I've changed the rules. It's like it's like then they expect you to keep up and just chasing a finish line that never goes there. It's just like as soon as you get close, they move it, and it's exhausting. It's really, really exhausting. And nurses also seem to have this sense of just perpetual dissatisfaction with their own lives, and their expectations are like on the horizon. It's like you can never reach the horizon. It's just like you can just keep going and keep going and keep going. Their expectations can never be met, and you're never going to be able to get them on. Get to achieve them on your own, and every time you think that you've done enough, they push the bar even further and make it even higher, make it almost impossible for you to just kind of find your own self worth and self a place of self. And by shifting your focus from your achievements to their whims, the narcissists ensure that you never feel grounded, that your triumphs become just little footnotes and narratives that they write, a story where you're always just, shy of good enough. And just don't get sucked into it, because recognizing the nitpicking and the moving the goalpost is like realizing that you're in a maze that has no exit. And when this trick isn't yours to solve, this maze is not yours to solve. It's like just step outside it. You don't have to jump through their hoops or scale their impossible standards. And empowering your responses to these toxic environments and these toxic behaviors. This is where we get our tools back. They have all these manipulation tools, cool, but we have our own tools of control. And they're not reflections of our inadequacy that we have to use these tools, but they're more mirrors to their insecurities, and refusing to be ensnared in these destructive cycles that they keep putting us through. Those are really important. By acknowledging your achievements, you celebrate your progress. Right? This isn't a hard, isn't an easy world to navigate when you're dealing with narcissism. People whose brains just don't work like normal people's brains. You can't rationalize them. You can't. They're really hard to understand. Your worth isn't measured by um, what their final words are. You define your own standards, and in the face of these manipulations, it's like your resilience is your rebellion. It's about grounding yourself to your truth, your strength, and your values. And remember that your life story, like you're not just the author. Like you're not. You have the power to write the narrative, to narrative your own success, your own self acceptance, your own self awareness. And in this journey, it's like you're not just go overcoming obstacles. You're not. You're not like you're transforming yourself. You're becoming the stepping stones of your stronger self, your more confident self, the part of you that's growing. And in this transformation, through this chaos and through this nuts stuff that they kind of force us through, so it's really important that you take time for yourself and you learn growth. And and thank you for following on this channel. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I don't see any comments, so I got a feeling I probably should have either warned earlier or just probably not done it on a Friday. I don't imagine there's a lot of lives going on Friday, but hey, whatever. I knew I wanted to do this. I'm like, hey, I have some time now, so I'm just gonna go live and I'm just gonna let you see what's out there, see who's there, see who's watching. And thank you so much for the thumbs up. Thank you for all the support. And yeah, no, I'm glad we're building this community. And if you need help, if you need support, if you need one-on-one attention, you can find more information about me and my programs. And there's just a whole recovery process, because I know it's not easy. But with help and with support, we can all get through this together. You can find me at narcovery.com. And yeah, please continue to like my page, follow my feed. Hey, I got a hey. How are you? There is somebody that's live. This is what happens when you do lives on a Friday. But it is what it is. But it is a pretty twisted world that narcissists live in. And they have this twisted rule book that they kind of play. And some of the things that they do is just name calling and put downs and all of these other things. When you start to look at them for what they are, it's like it makes a lot more sense that it makes a lot more sense if we were in the schoolyard, right? It makes a lot more sense if you're just schoolyard, because it's just like all the name calling in the games that are being played and the lies that are being put against each other, all of those other things that kind of happen in the background. It makes more sense if you're dealing with somebody with not the emotional age of an adult, but the emotional age of a child. And you can even look at the way they talk and the way they behave and say, it's like, yeah, their voice makes a lot more sense. The words make a lot more sense when you realize they're coming from just a very, very immature part of their mind, part of their brain. And they basically, they see themselves as generals, as rulers, but they're not. If you disagree with me, then you must be an idiot. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You've ever heard that? That sounds like an argument between two kindergarten kids. Disagree with me, you must be an idiot. Oh, well, my dad's going to beat up your dad. He's stronger than your dad. He's like, oh wow, yeah. And they use name calling all the time, and all these little things, and then they can be quite damaging, especially to self-esteem, and especially if you just keep hearing these things again and again and again and again. Anyway, I think that's it for today. If there's any questions, or anyone has any questions or anything, I'd be happy to answer it. But if not, I'll try to do another one shortly. Can't I don't know exactly when, but whenever I can find some time, it would be great. Anyway, that's it for now. And thank you for following. And stay awesome.